Ed, could you just explain to people that maybe don't understand this format? Because it looks like, based on what can happen today, you'll know which game you got to win. Is that, am I missing something, or is that the way it works?
No, that is correct. It's definitely going to take some getting used to for the fans to really understand what's going on. It's unique for us, having had to go through the old double elimination grinder. That the only kind of caveat to that was you could be undefeated and then there was a one-game championship on Sunday, which has happened to us before. We lost to Ohio State in the championship game when we hadn't lost a game and they had lost one, so people didn't understand that. But with the 12-team tournament, and the new teams coming into the tournament had to change to allow more teams in. All of us went to work on looking at other tournaments throughout the country that made sense, and we kind of copied the ACC, because what you want is everybody to feel like they have a fair shot to win it. You don't want to give the top two or whatever such an advantage that you really don't have a chance to beat them. But you also don't want teams to get beat up so bad that they're limping into the regional the next week if they happen to make it or win it. And so this was the format that everyone came up with and we all voted on in our coaching group a couple years ago. So what happens is that inside your pool play, there's 4 pool plays going on. In ours, with us being the highest seed, the advantage is the tiebreaker is the top seed. So in pool play, there generally will be several ties. So to your point, Todd, is that when we watch the Indiana Rutgers game today, if Rutgers wins, then if we beat Rutgers on Wednesday, we advance regardless of what happens against Indiana. If Indiana wins, if we beat Indiana on Friday, we would advance regardless of what happens on Wednesday with the Rutgers game. So interesting scenarios and different things that we're dealing with to how you're gonna do your pitching. And like if Indiana wins, it would feel kind of strange to be playing the first game of the Big Ten tournament like a midweek game, so that you had all of your guys ready to go for Friday, and you wouldn't throw Cade Overmuller on Wednesday against Rutgers if that was the case. And then the other thing that would enable us to do if that scenario happens is kind of look at matchups and see if Cade or Aaron Sabry would be the better matchup for Indiana. So it gives you it's definitely different, and puts us in a position where we have to strategize a little more.
So have you made a decision on who's going to go at and who's going to send to the mound in your first game that matters?
Well, if Rutgers wins, then Cade will go on Wednesday. If Indiana wins, then it would be TBA right now for Wednesday, and then likely Cade. But like I said, we would have a chance, and we're doing that right now, kind of looking at numbers and see who the better matchup would be for Indiana. And then if you win, then you're going to be playing whoever wins the UCLA pod on Saturday. So it puts us in if that would happen, that scenario, if we were able to pull off a win against Indiana, is probably the best for us and how our pitching would line up, because you would only have to win 3 games to win the championship. And with Reese Buter being dinged up a little bit and not being able to go as long as he has, that scenario would put us in the best position.
What's been your message to your team since last weekend? Just kind of a fresh start. What have you been?
Yeah, fresh start, and we're all we're everybody's 0-0 now. We're in the postseason, and when we start out in the spring, we break the season down into segments. You have your early season non-conference, and then you have you start conference play, and then you have your midweek games that start happening in March, and then the second half of the conference season is really a different season as well. And so we just stop along the way and cross-check, see where we're at, what we need to do. and then the last is the postseason, and so we finished the regular season on Saturday, and here we are heading into postseason. I just told everybody after the game Saturday that I thought they all needed to go fishing and come back Monday afternoon and let's get ready to go and have fun again and enjoy the challenge that we have in the Big Ten tournament and try to regroup and go down there and make a good run.
How'd they come back yesterday afternoon? How did they look?
They look great, and we did some fun stuff at practice. We did some competitive games and got everybody going with that. And to me, I felt like we were in a good place, and everybody had wiped it away because let's face it, it was hard, it was tough, and you get your guts ripped out, and you're that close to a regular season championship. It was going to take a little time, and on Monday yesterday when we practiced, I felt like we were in a really good place, and the guys were flying around with good energy and having fun, which is what we need to do. We're our best when everybody's out there just competing and having fun. It's a group that really gets along well, and the chemistry is great, and which is a big reason why we were in the position we were in. So I feel like we're going to definitely do that. It's not magic though, I mean, you got to go out and you got to play well, and we have some things that we need to clean up before the first game. We the last few weeks have been given the opponent too many free bases on the mound, and offensively we've not been clicking like we have in the past, and we're for the first time this year a little beat up, with Ben Wilmus being out, and he's a key piece of this team, and our leadoff guy and a guy who kind of makes us go, and so losing Ben was a big blow. And then if you look back the last 3 weeks, the starting pitching hasn't been able to get us into the 6th, 7th inning. And if you go back prior to that, the 10 weeks prior, those guys were getting us into the 7th inning a lot of times, all three, and that enabled us to use our bullpen in a way that worked for the guys we had. Our bullpen really isn't designed to cover as many innings as we've had to try and cover in the last 3 weeks, especially against the teams we've been playing. And there's a lot of things that we need to improve on, and reasons why we didn't win a lot of those games. But one of the big ones is that we need our starters to get us deeper into the game so that we can minimize the amount of innings that the bullpen has to pick up for us.
How do you kind of rejuvenate that offense you guys had early in the season over the past couple of weeks, couple of tough games? But
there's really not a whole lot you can do. I mean, there's ebbs and flows, and you try to stay positive, and you say all the right things. I mean, it's really next pitch, and you can't control what's happened in the past, but hitting is so much confidence, and trying to get them to clean the slate and start 0 for 0, and let's just do the things that we're good at. I was actually, throw out Friday when they pitched Thursday, the first game of the Oregon series, when that guy pitched us really tough. I mean, we had a really nice day offensively on Saturday. Saturday was our chance to win, and we just didn't get it done. We had a lead in the 7th, and you have to hold on to those, but we didn't. And then it wasn't futile on Saturday offensively either. So I feel like the pitching that we've seen the last 2 weeks with Oregon State and Oregon should pay dividends when we go into the tournament with the guys we're going to see. Plus, our guys have had success against the guys we're facing against Rutgers and Indiana, so I think that should help us some confidence. But really, just keep pumping them up and doing our work and doing our drills. And there's really not a lot you can do. The harder you try at hitting, the worse it gets. And a lot of times, the more you talk about it, the worse it gets. So we just talk about the cues and the routines that we do to try to stay in the present and not let what's happened in the past. But I mean, you guys have watched baseball. I mean, there's ebbs and flows. I mean, Aaron Judge will go 2 for 35 at some point this year, and you just have to keep plugging away. The worst part, the worst luck about this season is we really didn't slump the whole year, and it was like everybody. So unfortunately, I know from that in the past that when it starts to go south a little bit, it's not one or two guys, it's everybody, you know, and that's kind of what happened. And that's the bad blow with Ben Wilmus being out. Is Ben was one of the guys who was hot right now, and you know, not only getting on base, but you know, hitting extra base hits, home runs. So you know, we'll just hopefully a clean slate and a new start. We'll have a bunch of guys that are feeling good, and we'll swing the bats like we can this week.
Is Ben out for the tournament?
You know, he's trying to work. He's trying to work out a way that he can at least be available for a pinch hit, and we're hopeful that that can happen.
And Reese Buter, is he good to go for Aggie levels? He was.
It's kind of a day-to-day thing with Reese's situation, with how the nerve works, and some days are better than others. I think it's trending in the right way. I was really proud of him for the innings that he got us, shorten that game a little bit on Saturday. But it'd be fantastic if we can make it. You know, if we can make it to Reese's game, if he was in a better place and you could count on, you know, at least 4 or something like that, because he's pitching great right now. That's the biggest bummer about him going down was that he was the guy that was absolutely dealing, getting us to the 7th inning on Sundays. That's a big deal, and you know, especially if the series hasn't gone well, knowing you had a guy like Reese that can go out and give you a start like that and pick you up and give you a chance to win on Sunday was a big blow for us.
What's clicking for Reese this year?
Really everything. I mean, he's really confident, and locating his fastball on both sides of the plate is big for him. Changeup is good, slider's good. Just really hitting with all of his pitches and being able to throw all his pitches in any count has been, you know, the key to his success. And you know, he made some changes with his arm action this summer, as well as he did some things with his lead arm to try to match his arm action better. And he gets more deception now than he did last year.